Hey guys, Furum here, and today I will be testing the Chevrolet Corvette Grand Sport in multiplayer in Asphalt 9. Now, I've been wanting to make a test about this car for a long time because I love driving it. However, I just recently managed to 3-star it through the ad packs and the motor show packs and things like that. So I'm at 32-22 rank, 3 stars, with all upgrades and import parts applied that I could at this level. So let's get into some races. In this race, we've got another Corvette Grand Sport, a Sin R1, an SCG, an F12 TDF, a 488, a Jaguar F-Type, and a bunch of cars. While I don't like the fuel system in Asphalt 9, I will say it definitely does give a bigger variety of cars on the track than you might have seen in Asphalt 8. So I have a lot of good to say about this car and not much bad. It is probably one of the easiest cars to drive in the entire game due to its really good handling and nitro efficiency, which you can already see at the beginning of this race. That shockwave lasted me that entire first section on the ramps, which is something you really could not do in many other cars. And its handling is just amazing, allowing me to get around turns like this without too much. Well, I have a bit of a problem, but I've been able to do that turn in an event that was on this track without having to go out of nitro or drifting at all. That is one thing that you really can't do in much else, but maybe the Elise. At least for me, I'm sure that some people can get through there without drifting in many more cars than that, but those are the two that I can definitely get through it in. Now here, you can completely go around here without much of a problem, staying in nitro and at full top speed the entire time, and that is why this specific track, Tiber Stream or whatever, is one of the best tracks for this car, because there's so many places where it just has a big advantage over most other cars that you'd be facing, especially in this season. Okay, now for another track that this car is pretty good on. However, its acceleration is not especially great. It's in the low 70s, and thus it cannot really get ahead of cars at the beginning. And I have a lot of problems with bumping into people and all that stuff here, and I'm coming up to the turn without nitro, and I'm basically in last. It's not good. But somehow, I was actually able to make a pretty good race out of this. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. Gosh, I hate the beginning though. We've got a Regera in this race, as well as 3 488 GTBs, 2 SCGs, and 1 Sin R1. I do plan to make a video about the Sin R1 because I have 2-starred it. However, it's not very good, spoiler alert. It's just a pain to drive, even though its nitro efficiency is pretty good, and its top speed is also pretty good, but its handling and acceleration are so horrible at that rank that it struggles to reach that top speed, and if you make any drifting or turning or anything, it loses speed. So it's very hard to win in, definitely harder to win in than my 3-star Corvette. However, I've been told that at 3 stars and above it gets better, so hopefully once I get enough trade coins for that, I'll retest it. Hopefully I can even get enough, halfway decent races in the car to make a video about this season, because I still do plan to. And even after all those problems at the beginning, we managed to come in first in this race with a car that goes 210 miles per hour against a Regera which goes 290. Yeah, this car has extreme power in its handling and nitro efficiency. The two best things about it, definitely. Now we've got what might just be the closest race in the video, although there are quite a few. We are against what I believe is a 5-star Corvette Grand Sport. He's over 3,600 rating. The start of this race wasn't the greatest, but it's at least better than the previous race. Almost any start would be better than the previous race's start. And I am extremely glad that this 488 does not touch me there. I just barely went underneath his wheel. Apparently that is one way that supposedly unfair knockdowns can happen in the air if a car touches you with its wheel, because then you technically count as being under it. I still think that's kind of unfair, because in real life, your car doesn't explode when somebody touches your tire. That would be a real hazard. But then again, most of Asphalt 9's physics don't exactly go with real life. Ground 360s, I'm looking at you. So we're coming up fairly close to the end of this race here, just on the tail of this other Corvette Grand Sport. I thought we were gonna pass him, and we actually do manage to catch up to him. That way on the right is faster, I believe, in every car except the very high top speed ones. In which case it might be faster to go to the left and wall ride. Now here I was very scared that this guy was gonna try to knock me down, however he didn't, and I didn't either because I don't like doing it, and I managed to come in first with him just half a car length behind me, touching me on the side. I respect you very much for not knocking me down, and if I see you in the game again, I will respect you in the same manner. That's generally how I play Asphalt 9. If you leave me alone and don't try to purposely 360 me, I'm pretty much going to leave you alone. I'm mostly a passive player in the game. However, if somebody purposely 360s me, especially when it's completely unnecessary, like if they're faster than me and passing me, then you can bet I'm gonna go for you later. So if you're in that situation, don't 360 me. Now if someone's in a slower car and he 360s me when I'm passing him, that's a bit more understandable, and while I might be upset, I can understand why that's done, because, well, what other way are you going to have to win if you're slower and the faster car is passing you? As I've said many times before, I just wish ground 360s would be removed altogether. They add nothing positive to the game at all, in my opinion. So this race is a bit of a breather after the 3 previous ones. These were sequential, by the way. And so we're coming up near the end with the second place guy pretty far behind, almost off the map. Someone in Purple Team asked me to speak about a member of his club, Tornado Ludo, who had a friend that passed away from cancer not too long ago, so if you guys could show him some support in the comments, that would be great. So about Khan, I'm sure you guys have been wondering about him as well. He's still around, he's still suffering from cancer as far as I know, so we should certainly keep praying for him. In this next race, we are facing another Regera. We've also got 4 F12 TDFs, as well as 2 488 GTBs, so another full 8-player race. Since matchmaking in this season is rather random, Bronze League players can face Legend League players no problem. Yeah, it's a bit annoying, but it does allow for full 8-player races, which obviously is not good if you're in a Lancer, so I really hope they don't do that again. But anyways, that is why there have been pretty much all 8-player races throughout this video, and in any other video that I make that was recorded during this season. So due to this car's very good acceleration and nitro efficiency, we've gotten into first. Now, I believe this guy right behind me is in fact the Regera. Now, this track is not exactly the best track for the Regera. US Midwest is more suited to these cars that have better handling and nitro efficiency because of all the twisty turns and all the curves and all that stuff. Especially this one here with that horrible section at the end, which I still do not like. Although I do feel that I've gotten a bit better at it. So here, the best thing to do in a lot of cars is to shockwave around. Now in this car, I think it's actually faster to drift a bit closer to the inside and then shockwave, because there was some race, and I think this race is later in the video, where a Corvette manages to pass me around that turn by doing that when I went around the outside. However, that's only for cars that have very good drifting and nitro efficiency. So we do manage to beat this Regera along with all those other cars. The Regera really shines on the high top speed tracks, and I do have a video about that car up if you would like to see how it performs on a variety of tracks. Here we've got another Corvette Grand Sport, a 488 GTB, and 5 F12 TDFs. They are so popular because if you just play multiplayer at least some, you're going to get some F12 blueprints, and it is just so good, and really the only thing bad about it is the kind of bad handling. Everything else about it is good. So yeah, it makes sense why there would be a lot of people using it, but it's just, there are so many. Anyways, we take a bit of a safer route at the beginning for multiplayer and go into third, no second position, changed a lot back there. And then we just have this first place guy to catch up to. Now, this is on a Cairo track that has the big 360-degree turn at the end, or whatever degree it is. This big circular thing, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, yeah, so that is coming up. This Corvette has very good handling. The F12 TDF has very bad handling. Remember what I said about handling causing you to lose less speed if you have better handling? Well, that is going to come into play here. You see, he is ahead quite far, at least maybe a second or so. Now here, I am just passing him like nothing because my speed is probably 40 miles per hour faster than him in the turn. And so we're now into first position. This track, 1000 Minarets, is also a very good one for this car, given that big turn at the end, and probably any other tracks that you see in multiplayer that have that turn, this car is going to be good at, just simply because it can keep its speed so high. And the Huracan Evo Spider is sort of like this car on steroids at max, so yeah. In this final race, we've got another really close battle between me and, wouldn't you know it, another 5-star Corvette Grand Sport. We've also got a Cinar 1, a couple STGs, an F12 TDF, a 488 GTB, the usual cars that I've been facing all throughout this video. Now it's time for my general review about this car. As I've been singing its praises all throughout the video, you probably know sort of what I'm going to say. It's very smooth and fun and easy to drive, definitely one of my favorite cars in the game to drive. I would definitely recommend trying to unlock it through some Motor Show packs. It was the car that I actually got most often in those packs. So hopefully you can get it if you don't have it yet, and hopefully you can start up if you do. I had it at 1 star before, and now I have it at 3 stars. Also through those ad packs. Don't forget to watch 4 of those per day. Overall, the Corvette is definitely one of the best cars in Class B, and arguably the most fun one to drive. Although, the Huracan Evo is also quite fun to drive at max. This race is actually on the same track as before that we faced that Regera on and beat him, so I was thinking, well, maybe this track is good luck for me or something, and maybe I can beat this 5-star Corvette on it. Now, this is where he passes me by drifting and then shockwaving. Yeah, not exactly sure what happened there, but maybe that's faster, as I've said earlier in the video. Now here, however, I do start catching up to him a bit because I use nitro before him, and then I jump a bit higher than him, and he doesn't actually use nitro when going up there. So I fly over him and come in first. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like the video if you've enjoyed, and consider subscribing for more Asphalt 8 and 9 content. And I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.